Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel, Coffee Time with Grandpa. And I do these videos practically every day because I want to check in with everybody and see how you're all doing. Of course, I always try to find something interesting to talk about. And today is Sunday, and I am really enjoying my day. The sun is bright. Here in Nebraska, the wind is coming through right now. We have 30, 40 miles per hour wind gusts coming through, and it's really, the temperature's starting to drop. I think it's going to get below freezing. We're going to have our first frost tonight. So I hope your gardens are ready. I have been working, even though it's Sunday, I have been working practically all day in the garden trying to get things ready and picking everything that I could possibly pick. Uh, Today we're going to talk about a lot of different things on how to uh, prepare yourself for the hard times that are coming. Uh, I don't believe a lot of people really are concerned about the situation in the United States and this situation that our government is putting us through. And uh, what I'm referring to is um, there are many signs out there pointing to a depression. Some people say we're already in one. Uh, I try to stay positive because when I hear the word depression coming, it scares me a little bit because it means people are going to be losing a lot of jobs. They're going to be losing a lot of money. They're not going to be prepared for the hard times ahead. And there's a big debate going on right now whether we're in a depression or not. I am leaning towards, well, always be prepared for whatever comes our way. Uh, this old idea that we need to come back, to our senses. It's one of those things we have gotten so used to be living in a modern society, living in the city, and removing ourselves from nature. And it's happened over and over and over again. People are being desensitized and they're being more reliant on the federal government. Uh, I personally believe no, we should not be reliant on the federal government to supply us with everything. I believe that you make your own way in the world. I have worked hard all my life to make my way into the world. Um, and it has guided me along the way. A lot of times I've made some wrong decisions in life, but that doesn't mean you need to stop. Uh, uh, you really need to stop and smell the coffee because being prepared now is the only way. You need to learn new skills for survival, skills that our grandparents had, but our parents haven't really taught us a lot of things growing up. They kind of spoiled us a little bit, and uh, my parents were in a generation where it started to become normalized, where you go to the grocery store and get your groceries. You go to the banker to get your banking needs. You pay your monthly income out for electric or water, and you become reliant on the whole society, the city life society that we live in. And it's coming to a point in time that we're going to have to go back to the old ways and start taking care of ourselves again, because all those institutions and all those industries are not going to be available for us anymore, because They have total control over our lives right now, and we need to become more independent and start doing for ourselves, learning new skills to survive. What a great way to live. Learning about herbs and the herbal culture that is out there, and we are so fortunate to live in a day where we have the internet, where we can find anything on the internet that you want to find. Basically, you can find it. How to do anything. Uh, you know, it's how to garden, how to grow your herbs for medicine, how to make concoctions that will help you get through so you don't have to run to the doctor all the time and get a prescription for penicillin. Well, there are natural antibiotics for penicillin. So why in the world would you want to go to a doctor and spend all that money when you really don't have that money to spend? It's just a great way to always remember, learn new skills, new hobbies, new necessities sometimes, grow your own food, have your own garden, you know, have an extra income coming in from a side hustle. That will help you get through the rough times also. And of course, you need to always remember that, you know, have access to a gun and ammo to where you can go hunting. Have access to fishing equipment where you can go fishing if you need to catch a fish to live on. It's a great security thing, because if anybody threatens you, you can protect yourself. That's always good to have. Okay, now some of the I'm a believer in that this depression is already here amongst us. We're on the tip of it, and it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse here in the near future. Um, some of my ideas, the old ideas that need to be making a comeback, and I've listed a few ideas, and I hope you have a notepad where you can take some notes from what I'm going to be telling you. It's important. Take a few minutes out of your time and go get a notepad and a pen and get sure a cup of coffee, and I'll wait for you here. I'll give you a few minutes to grab that notepad to take notes, because this, what I'm about to tell you, is very important. Great cup of coffee. Okay. Hopefully you made it back. And so these are some of the things that need to make a comeback in our society in order for us to sustain ourselves. The first thing, excuse me, on my list is, uh, in the olden days, and back in the 20s and 30s, they called this the poor man's greenhouse. It was a cold frame they used in their gardens, actually, to prolong uh, uh, against frost danger. Like we're having frost tonight, and everything is going to be pretty much zapped from the frost. Uh, they built in their gardens. They built these boxes, the frame boxes that had like you use an old window from an old house. You can put it on top, put hinges on it, and you can lift it up and put your plants in there and let them grow in the fall when early frost comes, so you can prolong your growing season. This is something we need to get back to in our gardens. Another thing is these teepee things we used to build to let our green beans grow up on. We used to create stakes and put them out, and like a teepee, when the green beans would grow up on the stalks, it would create like a teepee where you could pick your beans. That's another great idea in your garden. And back during world before World War II broke out, they called for everybody to have a victory garden. It was a garden in your home, so you wouldn't be so much reliant on grocery stores anymore for your produce. you would grow your own produce where you can. And this was called a victory garden because it would help out with the war effort and cutting back and helping the war effort out. Another thing is people don't grow rhubarb anymore. Whatever happened to all those? Like grandma had a rhubarb patch all the time, close in the shade somewhere next to the house. She would grow a batch of rhubarb and make rhubarb pie, rhubarb jelly. Oh, it was so delicious. You just don't see that anymore. Nobody's doing it anymore. And it's something that we really need to get back to as an extra food that people were using during hard times. Companion planting was another interesting subject. In your garden, when you plant next spring, think about companion planting. Companion planting, I'm going to list some of the things that you can grow together. Tomatoes and basil, the herb basil, works well with tomatoes. Okay, it protects the tomato plant. It brings nutrients to the tomato plant because of the basil, and it keeps the bugs and aphids away from your tomatoes just by putting a basil plant next to it. Another companion planting was peppers and marigolds. I use a lot of marigolds in my garden just to keep the bugs away and keep the natural predators away. Of course, my garden is enclosed, so nothing really can get to it, but it will help in keeping insects away from eating up your pepper plants. Another combination is when you plant cucumbers in your garden, plant some dill along with it. It's a great way to that combination, cucumber salad with dill, plus it grows well together. They complement each other in so many different ways. Another one is carrots and chives. When you put your carrots out, plant a few chive seeds with it and let the chive grow uh, along with your carrots because they grow very well together. Lettuce and onion. Lettuce and onion is a perfect example of where you can grow lush lettuce leaves, and the onions grow onions around them, and they work well together, and they will protect each other against pests and that. So another thing is spinach and radishes work well together. A lot of people don't know that. When you plant your spinach, put radishes with it because they will enrich the soil and cause your spinach to be uh, bigger and luscious. Another one is chili peppers. If you have chili peppers, you can plant oregano with it. Oregano is a powerful bug. No bug will ever go near a oregano plant. None of them. They cannot stand that smell of oregano, and chili peppers it will complement it. And also, if you have a strawberry patch, with your strawberries, plant thyme, the herb thyme, using herbs to protect other plants in the garden, and that won't smother each other out. They complement each other very much. I hope that was helpful to you there. Another one is corn and beans and squash. They work well together. A corn stalk, plant a few beans around it, and those beans will grow up, around the corn stalk. And squash will keep it shaded underneath, and so it doesn't take a lot of water because corn is pretty rough on the soil, as you know it. It takes all the nutrients out of the soil, and squash will replenish those nutrients along with the beans. I already mentioned marigolds near your tomatoes. It's a great way to protect your tomatoes. Now, something that also over the years has just gone with the invention of the refrigerator, we have gone with refrigeration as a necessity in life. And, if you think about it, 100 years ago, there was no such thing as refrigeration in a refrigerator. People, the only time they would get ice is in the wintertime. when the rivers were frozen, and they go down to the river and chop a bunch of ice up and bring it up to keep things cool. Uh, Nowadays, with the advent of refrigeration units and a refrigerator in every kitchen, uh, it was a normal way of life of living. We there in the olden days, the way they kept their stuff preserved and kept it cool was they had root cellars. These were underground, sort of like underground bunkers that were into the ground, and they kept a radiant temperature in the ground between 40 to 60, 65 degrees in the middle of summer. The deeper you went in ground, the more steady the temperatures were, and you could keep your root crops down there and all your canned goods, and keep the sunlight away from it. And this is the way people lived. Well, we need to bring the root cellar back again. If you live out in the country, it's just remarkable how many people do not have root cellars anymore. Uh, it needs to come back. Those are one of the things. Uh, Another thing that we've lost touch of is in our gardens. A lot of times they would have these clay pots buried in the garden where your vegetables were growing, and they would take these clay pots and fill them up with water, so the water would seep out of the clay pots and go into your soil and keep your stuff pretty watered down, so your plant would thrive, and especially in drought ridden areas, this was a great idea. Always remember that whatever problems you might have in your garden, wow, there's always a solution. And another thing they did in the garden, which reminds me, is they covered their tender plants during frost. They covered them with plastic domes of some kind to protect the plants from getting frost overnight if you want a late garden. Another thing that people don't do anymore, and I still do it, I have a big liquid container that I put my dead plants in that I've scraped up from the gardens, and I put and add water to it, and I create a compost tea out of it that has all the minerals and all the vitamins and all the nutrients your soil needs. And I would take this and whichever plants needed more nutrients, I would give them this compost tea that and I do this year round. In the middle of winter, of course, the container will freeze in the inside, but it still would be breaking down the vegetation that you put in there, the scraps that you have put in there and made compost tea out of, that I can use in the spring as a nutrient fertilizer. Those are some of the ideas that I have come up with. I hope you have enjoyed this segment today. I know it was full of a lot of information, and I want to wish everybody a great week. Today is Sunday, and it's Sunday evening, and I am getting ready to post this video. As soon as I get off of here, I will post this video to my channel so you all can view it. I'm sending love and blessings to all. Hope you have a great week coming up. Uh, and I hope and always remember, see you next time. Love you. Bye bye.